Well, I guess it's that time to review NXT UK and NJPW Strong. But for the first time ever in this channel, I'm going to give you guys a review that I never done before, even though it's on the WWE Network. And this one is 205 Live. So let's talk all about it on this episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things pro wrestling from AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, all promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. Before I start reviewing the three events that took place, uh, this show would like to pay our condolences to Ryan Smile, who is a independent wrestler who none of you guys may or may not have heard of. He is a wrestler who's been with Revolution Pro Wrestling out of the UK and OTT Wrestling out of Ireland. If you guys never seen this guy, you may have seen him on the Being the Elite episode in episode 49. This is where the Elite goes to do a UK European tour or something like that. One of their stops was in Ireland, and they were in the OTT. And there was that moment where Matt Jackson put Ryan Smile in the sharpshooter, and Ryan got out of it. But however, he had to confront Kenny. Kenny's the one who grabbed his foot, telling him that I got your foot, you can't do anything. And he was about to kick him, but Kenny ducked. So that's that very same guy, if you guys know it. Many wrestlers who knew him, especially in the WWE, were saddened to hear the news of his passing and all this. And the news was spread through his tag team partner, who said he'd been battling from mental illness for a long time. Just to tell you guys, mental illness is a serious thing. I already have a friend who lost her husband through mental illness, and it's not a joke. And you know, you know how that is. But anyway, so Ryan Smile, I wish I could have known you a lot longer, known your career and all this. Rest in peace, pal. And I'll do my best to know who you are and what impact you brought into the wrestling world. Okay, so as you know, right now we're talking about NXT UK. So right now we still got the continuation of the Heritage Cup tournament, and of course, the main event where we have Imperium members Alexander Wolfe and Walter taking on Ilja Dragunov and the former NXT UK champion Pete Dunne. Now let's start with the Heritage Cup opening round. This is one round there. We already know who's in the semifinals in one bracket. We have Noam Dar will face a Kid in the semifinals. Now the next bracket right now is determined with Dave Mastiff and of course Joseph Connors. Now Joseph Connors in this particular match for the Heritage Cup has played a very small, played a very, should I say, a smart role where he's trying to avoid Dave Mastiff. Mastiff is a huge dude that you know you don't want to get in cross paths. So there already been two rounds that neither have made, how to say, neither made a pinfall or a submission. But however, Mastiff won by, I'm not sure if it was a knockout that he did that caused Joseph Connors to call off the match. I didn't see it clearly. I got distracted. I wish I could have go back to it, but Mastiff won this one, so he advances to the semifinals. All we got left in this one for the opening round of the Heritage Cup, we have Kenny Williams versus Trent Seven. So this is gonna be very interesting. So we got to tune into that next week. Now, as you know, recently you may have heard Joseph Jordan Devlin is back. So basically, he's back after being stuck at the UK. As you know, he was unable to fly due to the travel restrictions, but at the same time, he was dealing with the allegations against him during the Speaking Out movement, where some woman named Hannah Francesca said that she had these bruises, that it was done by him. He denied the allegations, saying that it was a truth, but he never mentioned anything else. He's working with his legal team to take care of that, but there hasn't been any word yet. However, because of his return, he's now conflicted with the fact is Santos Escobar is the new NXT Cruiserweight Champion. Now, as you know, ever since the Cruiserweight Champion was defended or down in Worlds Collide months ago, where we had not only Jordan Devlin, we had who was there? Um, Isaiah Scott, Angel Garza, and I forgot who was the fourth member. And practically it kind of went Jordan Devlin's way. He defended the title on both brands, both NXT and NXT UK. But however, since the travel restriction, WWE made the decision to have an interim cruiserweight where basically he's like a substitute until Jordan Devlin's able to change. But however, things did not go exactly like Jordan Devlin wanted. He finds out later, instead of calling interim NXT Cruiserweight Champion, it became just simply NXT Cruiserweight Champion. So Jordan Devlin is now making his message clear that he is the true Cruiserweight and there's nothing that anybody can do. My best guess is once the travel restrictions are lifted, he will come over whoever holds the Cruiserweight title. It could be Isaiah Scott or Santos Escobar, as we know. But however, he is in it for vengeance and he is not going to stop there. So I'm excited to see how that goes. But personally, I don't know yet because we still don't know yet because of the allegations that took place back in June. But we'll see how that goes when we cross the bridge. I know that some people have mixed feelings like Velveteen Dream and Matt Riddle. But right now, let's just focus on the entire NXT UK brand on this one. The next one, we have a women's match. We have Isla Dawn versus Piper Nevins. Now, the reason this match took place, if you recall a week ago, the current NXT UK Women's Champion Kylie Ray set out a State of Unions, and of course, it became a huge melee. Isla Dawn got in the crosshairs of Piper Nevins and made this match happen. So basically, this is one of those matches where Isla Dawn had to step up, especially with someone like Piper Nevins, who is a big girl who you know for a fact she could easily take you out. But however, Isla Dawn really put up a good fight, and it showed that she is meant to be there, even though she lost a couple of matches in the past. But however, it was still not enough to beat Piper Nevins. Piper Nevins wins the match. Now the next match is the main event. We have Imperium members Alexander Wolfe and the in-ring general and the current NXT UK champion Walter facing off against the number one contender for the NXT UK championship, Ilja Dragunov, and teaming with him is the former NXT UK champion Pete Dunne, who is the longest reigning NXT UK champion. Now this became a rivalry between both teams. Now, as you know, Ilja Dragunov was trained under Walter. Now, Walter believed he can end him once and for all. But as for Pete Dunne, his sake at this, he hasn't forgotten that Walter was the one who dethroned him ever since he first arrived in NXT UK. But the match was great. But there were moments where Dragunov wanted to take on Walter many times over, but of course Alexander Wolfe gets in the way. But Pete Dunne, on the other hand, made it perfectly clear he's trying to get even with Alexander Wolfe. Wolfe believes that Pete Dunne set him up during the opening round of the Heritage Cup, but that wasn't true. Even though there's been tensions between Imperium and Dunne ever since then. But however, the biggest shock that took place was Ilja Dragunov did the Moscow Torpedo and pinned Walter. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? He pinned Walter. That's never been done. Walter has been the dominant force ever since he first set foot in the NXT UK. So what does this mean? Could we have a brand new NXT UK champion? We may never know. All we gotta do is wait when that happens. So that is it for now. Let's jump in for the first time ever, 205 Live. Now, as you all know, I've been having this liked many times over. I mentioned I don't watch Raw, I don't watch SmackDown unless something cool happens, or something shocking. Now, 205 Live, as you know, it's been mostly like a cruiserweight type of division. In the past, they only had one championship, and that was the cruiserweight championship until they decided to put it in NXT. I don't know why they did that. I feel like that was a big mistake. They should have just left it there. But as you know, I'm a fan of the cruiserweight, but to me, I don't feel like this is the cruiserweight division that I grew up watching. I watched WCW cruiserweight division back then, and of course, I'm a fan of Dragon Gate. As you guys don't know, that's also a cruiserweight type of division. They have like junior. It consists with cruiserweight, lightweight, junior heavyweight, that type of thing. It's same thing with the X division as well, and that's the reason I've been a fan of that. So this is going to be the first time I'm going to be reviewing 205 Live. You can also see this on the WWE Network. I don't have it, but I found ways to watch it, so don't ask me how. Now the first match is Aria Davari, who had this thing called the Davari Dinero division. Basically, he has like a briefcase full of money. So he set up two matches against two people coming from the Performance Center. The first one was Anthony Green. So this was a pretty interesting setup where Davari is trying to set up an establishment, from what I can see. But I have heard of the name Anthony Green before on the independent circuit, but don't know much about him. But he did put up a fight, and he lost to Davari on this one. However, Davari called in the next participant. We had Kurt Stallion. However, the match did not go exactly according to plan. Um, Kurt Stallion won the match, but all thanks to Tony Nese. So basically, that's what happened. I don't know what is the deal with Tony Nese. I don't know if there's like a bit of a rivalry between both Davari and Nese. If there is, then Davari is in trouble. But he did state it. Kurt Stallion did not win the briefcase. He had either to beat him by submission or pinfall. He did not win. The terms were not disqualification. So if he was disqualified, if Davari was disqualified, it doesn't count. So he walked away with the briefcase. Now the next match was another. There was another. This one is shorter. This one is the Brian Kendrick versus Isaiah Swerve Scott. Now, you guys may have known Brian Kendrick for a long time. He's a veteran. He is one of the best cruiserweights of his time. But at the same time, he also runs a wrestling promotion out of LA, but also a wrestling school called Wrestling Pro Wrestling. I know it's kind of weird, but I heard that name once before through SoCal Uncensored, which is the wrestling news outlet out in LA, but they're mostly operate out in SoCal. But yeah, so it was a good match between him and Isaiah Swerve Scott. Like, I wasn't sure exactly where they're gonna go, but I did like how the match ended with Swerve Scott picking up the victory. But however, he did wanted to extend his respect for Brian Kendrick for being one of the top cruiserweights of his time. And now, could this be a beginning where we're going to see more Scott to obtain the cruiserweight title that is currently being held by Santos Escobar? We may never know. So this is a real short part of the segment with me talking 205 Live. But if you guys feel I should talk about more 205 Live, let me know. I will not review Raw or SmackDown because they're not the same kind of way that I grew up in. So let's move on to NJPW Strong. Continue on with the Never. Okay, so we're doing now the NJPW Strong. Every few weeks they change up the tour. Last few weeks we had the Lions Break Crown, and now we have the Never series. Now, you ask yourself, what is the Never series? Let me explain this to you guys, even though I'm already going to make a video about the Never project, or Never series as it's called. The Never series is basically a division where there's no weight restriction. You can be either a heavyweight or a junior heavyweight. And that was something that took place back then. The Never series was originally more of a NXT version, but only did 12 shows in the matter no 13 shows in the matter of 1 year. And ever since then they developed a championship called the Never Openweight Championship. First champion was Masato Osaka, but currently the current Never Openweight champion is Minoru Suzuki. And then of course they did the whole Never Openweight six-man tag team championship. Many people have won that champion. Now this one is a very unique. So they kind of decided to put one junior heavyweight versus a heavyweight. So basically, it doesn't matter who's who, but you'll face. Now, the first match of that day was in fact Danny Limelight against Mysterioso. Now, Danny Limelight has now been the talk of the New Japan world in it. He's now being scouted by Rocky Romero. He seems like the kind of prominent guy who could end up working with New Japan, versus a guy like Mysterioso, who's a veteran and a long history of lucha libre in his blood. It was a good match to see it. Basically, you ask myself, if there is a weight restriction, yes, Danny is in fact a cruiserweight, or should I say junior heavyweight division type. As Mysterioso, he's a big dude, but he is very athletic. So that's one of the things that I have noticed in this match. But however, it was Mysterioso who won. So you ask, oh, it's the same old thing. Heavyweights always win. Maybe so, but there have been some junior heavyweights that, in fact, won their matches. Now, the next match, we have the 7-foot Hakuleo versus TJP. Now, we can assume right from the start, you look at Hakuleo, he's a big dude. Yes, he's a big dude. But there was moments where TJP seems like he had everything under his control. He even broke Hakuleo's arm off. You know, doing what Penta did in the past, where he just pulls it back. He did that, but it wasn't enough to put the big man down. So Hakuleo won the match, even with a busted arm. So the next match, we have Alex Zane versus TJP. This was a pretty good match. I've been a fan of Alex Zane since I've been watching him at GCW, but now he's there. And TJP, you may know him as Justin Gabriel when he was with WWE for the Nexus. But it's great that this match was awesome. I love these two competitors. They're awesome in their own right. I mean, Alex Zane always impresses me with his skills. And TJP, we all knew him as a high flyer, but now he's doing groundwork, which is good. And of course, TJP won the match. I love it. This is one of my favorite matches so far of TJP being in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Now we get to the main event. We got Bullet Club members Chase Owens and Kenta versus Jeff Cobb and David Finlay. Now, as you know, there has been history with David Finlay and Jeff Cobb against Kenta. As you know, it was David Finlay who was nearly defeated Kenta to win the briefcase that contained a title shot for the IWGP United States Championship. Jeff Cobb wants a piece of that, but however, Kenta's been avoiding Jeff Cobb. But it was a great match. Of course, they even did the separation tactic where they're trying to keep one person away from another, but it was awesome. But however, it was David Finlay who picked up the victory by pinning Chase Owens. And what does this mean in the future? Will we ever see Jeff Cobb face Kenta for the briefcase down the line, even though Kenta does not want to, defend it? You may never know. So I think that's it right now with these three reviews of these three events, even though it's a shorter one. But before I go, I wanted to let you guys know the next coming episode, I'm going to review the last remaining 3 days of the G1 Climax 30. We already had the finals for the A block, but we are going to do the B block, and then after that on a Sunday, we're going to have the finals between the winners of both the respective blocks, who will be the one to win the briefcase that will contain a title opportunity at Wrestle Kingdom. Now, I will discuss more about that in the next episode on what happened. So we'll just wait and see. So I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. Mwah, and have a nice day.